So welcome back to part 2, episode 11 of our Streamer Therapy podcast season 4. If you missed part 1, go back and watch it, or watch this and then go back and watch it. It's your life choices. So, today the mods are here and we are talking behind the hammer. We're doing the good, the bad, and the ugly of moderating for a streamer. We've done the good and we're ready for the bad. If you've watched or listened to previous episode, you know I'm your host, UK. Here with my moderator, Pretentious, Collection, Bloody Revolution. I mean, he isn't bloody, but actually his baby might be. But you need to go and watch and listen to season 2 to know what I'm talking about. So there you go. And last but not least, his moderator and my honorary moderator, one of the Barrys here. All right, so we're going to move on to the bad, the challenges and the reality of moderating. So what's one of the biggest challenges you think that you faced?
That's interesting. Biggest challenge, like I'm doing a job interview. What is your biggest challenge?
What's your biggest weakness, Pete?
If you could be any fruit, what would you be?
Well, now that you mention it, I wouldn't want to be a lemon. That's for sure.
Oh God.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
A+ on the props.
Yeah,
well done.
Pete has has knitted
grapes.
He's knitted a lemon, so he's just wanting to showcase that to you.
I would be an acorn. If I was going to be a fruit, I'd be an acorn.
Yeah, because then you can grow. You start off small, but then you grow.
Just visualize all the things that they're mentioning that they're just showing to the camera. So don't worry about missing this video. If you're just listening to this podcast, don't even worry about like missing out on looking at this. It's,
hit the forward 30 seconds button and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
The thing is, if you're watching it, if you're listening on Spotify, you can actually also see the video. So
yes, you can.
Make sure you're watching it there.
Yeah,
if she uploads it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think one of the biggest challenges.
Go ahead, Pete. You're good.
So I got a lot of things in front of me. One of the biggest challenges I think is being a mod in general. Is like we've already kind of touched on a little bit. Knowing the expectations, and we did just talk a little bit about making mistakes and those kind of things that can happen. So it's about putting all those things together. So I think one of the biggest challenges is, of course, keeping everyone in line. Making sure you can make whatever you can do to make the stream run smoothly. Can also be quite challenging at times, and just sometimes the getting to stream can be challenging for anyone, So having the time to be a mod and feel like you're doing that in a way that is helpful to the streamer or the community or whatever can also be quite challenging. What about you, Barry?
I think, I'm a big perfectionist, and if anybody's been around me long enough, you'll kind of know this. The when you've kind of taken some action, right, and you don't know that it's with the rules or against the rules or whatever, right? Like going back to the kind of question that we talked about at the end of the last one, that the did I make a mistake, right? Did I harm the community by doing the action that I did, right? And the good streamers, you justify what you did, right? Whether you screenshot chat or you whatever you did, and you kind of bring it up as a conversation later in Discord or in a mod chat or whatever, and you're like, hey, I did this because of this. And the good streamers will be like, great, I trust you. No problem. Fantastic. And then every now and again, it has not happened often for me personally, but every now and again, all of times where the streamer was like, no, that's absolutely wrong. Right. And we've all done the wrong thing at times where, hey, you didn't need to delete that message or whatever, right? That's no big deal. Who cares, right? It's a deleted message. But if you did something bigger, right, you banned somebody or you did something else like that, or hey, I did this thing, I linked this other person's content or something like that, right? Which goes directly against some rule you maybe didn't know, right? So I those kind of moments to me are the kind of the worst personally, of you did a thing that's kind of like breaking the vibe and the group that's kind of been put together by the streamer.
Yeah. Collection, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll switch it from the mod perspective to a streamer perspective because sometimes I've modded people where I don't necessarily feel like they're a good fit for mod. Not to say they're not a good fit as a friend or whatever. So having to make that decision to kind of remove them from being a mod, whether you have a conversation from them or conversation with them, or you just kind of like silently remove them and you kind of just move on with it. There are times like that where as a streamer, and a mod's either not doing their job well, which I don't think I've ever like fired anyone or anything like that, or if they're just like no longer part of the community and making those decisions to be like, hey, it's not you, it's me. We're moving on. We're getting new mods or something like that. So that could be a bigger struggle as a streamer, or having a conversation if they did do something that you don't agree with, or having a group meeting with your mods and being like, okay, what happened here? Like, let's figure out all this. Just the conversations can be tough because you are still trying to run like a nice stream, a good community, and sometimes your mods might not be exactly the people you thought you could trust, depending on like who it is or whatever. So sometimes that happens.
Talking about me.
We've had a lot of conversations about Barry, but in a different mod chat.
There's a question that I'm not going to answer today, which is how do we remove certain mods and things like that? How do you go about removing people? I'm not going to answer that question, but if you're a streamer and you are struggling with this, feel free to DM me privately or DM the streamer therapy, anything like that. And I'm happy to actually help you in that situation. And because I feel like it's case by case for one, but also I don't want to upset people either. So, but definitely if there is something that you are struggling with and you're watching streamer therapy and, you're here for the therapy and I'm not giving you this specific answer, DM me, please. I will happily answer that question for you.
I'm DMing Kay right now.
Oh God, he's going to be like, how do I unmod UKs? That's what he's going to ask. Okay, that's great. I guess this one is what we actually were talking about, but we never actually specifically talked about the answer for this. So like, how do we handle difficult viewers, especially ones that aren't technically breaking the rules, but are being problematic? So I think this is actually a bit different to what we said when we were talking about the weird messages. We were saying that they were being weird, but not like too problematic. But I guess this question is, they are being problematic, but they're not technically breaking the rules. Like, what do you do?
You make a new rule so you can ban them,
You don't even need to make a new rule. Ultimately, if the stream is feeling uncomfortable, it's your job to ban the person that's being weird or problematic.
Or making uncomfortable. I remember, and for me, it's been such a learning process. I mean, when I first started streaming, anybody could say anything. I was very I did not want to ban people because I felt so bad. And some people would come in daily and like completely fill up the chat with like trauma dumping and things like that. So as I've streamed more and more over the years, I started establishing more rules and what I feel comfortable with. And so that's something my mods have also learned, that like when I first started, I was like, don't ban them. They're not a big problem. To like, if someone says one bad comment, send them out of here. We've had too many people, not too many, but we've had a good handful of people that have tortured me for months. And just because I'm too nice to get rid of them for various reasons. And then, so at this point now I've learned that like, it's better to just ban them. There's 8 billion people on Earth. I don't even know what the number is. So we can get rid of one, and it won't be the end of the world.
From Twitch chat, to be clear.
What?
You said get rid of one. From Twitch chat, right?
No, we'll get rid of them for good.
And that's a very special set of skills.
I hire only specific mods who can do the job.
I mean, honestly, it's something that Tim brings up. Is like, when I started doing mod activities, it was a little more lenient and kind of learning the curve and things. And then as you just get it more exposed to it over and over again, sometimes you get the gut feeling when something starts to get weird, where you go, oh, this is going to go weird and bad, or it's just touching on weird, but they're going to bring it back, right? And so you kind of you kind of develop a feeling about it. But also it's with the streamer's reaction to it, right? And making sure that you're kind of trying to keep the vibe the streamer's going for and making sure the streamer's still happy doing their streamer job, right?
Yeah. I think that's true. It is about the streamer itself. Like, how are they feeling? What is their body language telling you? If you can see them, or what their voice is telling you if you can't see them, the streamer, and if they're a VTuber or something. I think if you've been their mod long enough, you can tell the vibes. I think I also feel like if you've had a moderator for so long, they can guess if you can handle it or not. Like, you can tell how they're being. I think I had one who was making me a bit uncomfortable, but I broke out in song for some reason in Mulan. I just broke out in song. I was just like, and then I think that kind of told my mods that, you know what, she is a bit uncomfortable, but she's kind of dealing with it herself. But
it's good to have a safe word.
Yeah, but I think that actually that's a good point. But I think I'm like you, Collection, where I'm trying to get used to being like, you know what, that's not okay. Like, I've just directly stopped my stream and say, you know, that's not okay. You're not okay to say that.
Give so many chances.
But to be honest, whenever I do have a lot of problems, my mods are never there.
I know the feeling.
Yikes!
For those not seeing at home, she's staring intensely at Pete right now.
Oh God!
Brutal.
No, but
I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. You know, sometimes mods can't be there.
That's true.
100% of the time, and a
That's
streamer
true.
needs to be able to mod themselves. Yeah.
Hey, you
Very
know,
true. I always say I never expect a mod to do something that I can't do myself.
Yeah, I just. But I guess going into the next type, which is like, what's the most annoying type of like chatter to deal with as a mod? So like, I think
many.
I think it's like.
Do you want to name names?
I think it was like I think
the viewer list right now.
TOLLECT.
Wait a minute.
I think like people that backseat gaming too much, if you don't particularly allow that, or self-promoters, oh my God, and trolls, obviously. And self-promoters, for me, that do it casually, I've never seen them before, and then they start talking in your chat and then casually just like plug in that they're a streamer, and I'm like,
it's really funny to see like the first time chatter, and you'll get a couple messages in, and then like if you've modded for a while, you get the feel of like, is this going to an actual organic conversation, or are they about to go like, I can sell you art for your channel or whatever, right?
Oh my God, it's
you get the feeling of that, and you're just like, oh, I see it coming, and you're just like hovering over the button.
Yes. My God.
And done.
You know what though? I actually did this thing where I was like, May, if you're gonna start, I literally just said it in the chat because I was like, I know where this is going, and I was like, May, if you're gonna start promoting like yourself, I'm just letting you know, like, it's not okay, and I'm gonna time you out. Like, I just said it, and then they quickly responded with, no, I'm not selling myself. I'm not. But then literally like 2 minutes later, they left because. No, but like they actually did try to say something about themselves, and then I think we just was like, see ya, bye-bye.
It's always weird because sometimes you can't tell if it's like a bot or if it's a person, and it's like I don't understand the mentality, because there's so many people like that out there who will just jump into streams and try to promote their art, promote their own stream, and I don't know why it's such a common thing, because like nobody wants to see that.
It must work on someone. That's why it keeps happening.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you fire it, you shoot enough times, and then you're gonna hit something eventually, right? Like,
right.
Hey, you can self-promote a million times, and as long as you get at least a couple responses, it might be worth it, I guess, to get banned from everywhere else that you're trying.
Yeah, right. Crazy.
Yeah. The annoying type of chatter is interesting because it also comes in like with the personal biases, right? Like, what do you hate as a mod that drives you up a wall?
Right, like where do your tolerances stop where the streamer might be like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah, where like a streamer might not care, for example, like, I don't know, here's an example, but like if, say, there's a chatter that only talks to the streamer, right? They talk back and forth, yeah, they're active in chat and stuff like that, but they never interact with anybody else in the community, right? Maybe the streamer doesn't care about that, but maybe if you're trying to like help build the community, it might drive you nuts, right? Or something like that. Or the opposite, a chatter that only wants to be involved in chat and doesn't really care about what the streamer says. Right, like those kind of things that maybe you have your own personal opinion as a mod about, that kind of community aspect or something like that. So there's some interesting personal things that come into it too. But yeah, the selling and the self promotion and those it's funny to see when you've seen so many of them.
Yeah, I think it's just
I was gonna say that, both those things are annoying. But also, we're talking, you get that feeling of someone that's coming to chat that is going to be weird, or like the person that comes into chat and just overshares a whole bunch.
Oh,
Like your
Mhm.
first time chatter,
yeah.
here's my whole life story.
Yeah.
Obviously not, again, probably not really talking to people in chat, but wanting something from the streamer that
Mhm.
the streamer
Mm.
may not necessarily want to give
Mhm.
of themselves. Probably, and that's sometimes a difficult line as well. What is oversharing? What is this person trying to do? Everyone's a bit different and interacts with
Mhm.
people in different
Mhm.
ways. So,
Yep.
knowing what that kind of line is for the streamer, and that I know that's different for me, and some of the people that I'm off for sure.
Yeah.
And
I
of
think
And then
course,
a lot of people.
those
Go
other
ahead.
annoying comments of like weird person, like, hey, OnlyFans question mark. You're like, what?
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
weird dudes coming into chat.
Yeah.
Always annoying.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Collection?
I think I forgot it, but it's okay.
Okay. That's okay. If you remember it, just jump in and just let us
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I think we talked about this a lot during season 1, and we talked about it in season 3 as well, which is like, the fact that we are not your therapist. We are real life people. Like, people, they need to understand that as a streamer, we are real life people. We have emotions. We're not here to, we're happy to be there for you. And this is what we talked about at length in our previous podcast. Like, where do we draw the line where we want to be there for the community member, but we also don't want you to be triggering us or the chat, or do you know what I mean? Like, just drawing that sort of fine line. We talked heaps about that before, so we're not going to go into that too much today.
Yeah. I remembered what I was
Yes.
going to say.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, when they come in and like will write a lot about themselves, it's always tough to navigate too, because I've seen it a lot where people like will say like they have a mental illness, and they'll say they have like autism or something like that to kind
Yeah.
of like shield themselves in a way, like, hey, I have this is why I'm like that, which
Good point.
and
Yes.
you want to respect, and not just like,
Yeah.
you want to understand how it is. So like I always walk a fine line, because I'm like, okay, is this related to their mental illness? Are they just being like crazy? Like how do we how do I decipher this? And sometimes it's hard to tell. But yeah, that was just something that I noticed a lot, is like, you don't want to ban people. It's the nuance of when to ban or remove their comments is a little tougher when they add in that extra like little, I guess, buffer or shielding, if you will.
Yeah.
They're like trying to explain why they're saying so much.
Yeah, that's true. Just to clarify, therapists are obviously real people, but I just mean that we're not qualified people. We're just not qualified and professionals in that way. I mean, unless there is a streamer who is a therapist, but like, I don't know why they would give that away, because it's such a weird thing, So Pete, don't answer this question. So have you ever had
I'm
to
muting myself.
have you ever had to, he actually did, don't mute yourself,
did.
my God. Have you ever had to enforce a rule you didn't necessarily agree with, and how did you handle that? I probably want to go first for this one as well, because I could see you guys are still thinking about it. So to me, it is simple, though, because it's their stream, it's their rules. But I actually had an opposite of this situation happen to me. Actually, I just realized, I don't know if I want to share this. I don't know why I put that down as an example. Okay, I will. It's fine.
You don't have to.
It's fine.
Live.
Yeah, it's okay. There was a time where I had to, I was a moderator for a streamer. They didn't want rules. They didn't want proper rules, and
they've been on the internet before, right?
Yeah, but they didn't understand like how enforcing more rules. They had like the basic rules, which is like, don't be Ray, and that kind of stuff. But there wasn't like other rules that they needed to have. And they didn't understand like how not enforcing a rule can be a disaster. And but they weren't listening to me, but there's only so much I can say. So I kind of let them learn the hard way, because I had to. I have no choice, because ultimately they make the final call. As I said, it's their stream, their rules. So it was very difficult for me to moderate for them, because honestly, it was like I didn't agree with this, and there was so much that was happening in chat that I decided that I didn't want to moderate for that person anymore.
Were they new to streaming? Was that like you think why they were in that position?
They were new to streaming, but then they've been on Twitch for long enough to kind of understand, and been on my chat long enough to know like how I do things as well. And so you know, it was yeah, so I guess how I handled it was I did help them afterwards. Like obviously I helped them continuously, and I said, okay, well, now that you want rules, these are the kind of rules that I had. But then ultimately they still were not enforcing it very well. And, you know, how I handled it is by saying, you know what, I'm here for you. But I just don't think I can do this. It's not great for my mental health either.
Which is fair. I mean, you know, going into a stream, because I can see their perspective where it's like, no, I want it to be a free, comfortable environment. And that means no rules.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, it's the like extreme side of things where like no rules. You need to have some rules. Even if you want that kind of environment, you can still do it and just be like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Like there are ways to do it where you can still achieve that. But some people, and you know, it was similar to my stream. I'm like, hey, just, you know, don't be racist, don't like say awful things, and let's chill. But then as time went on, I learned that people really like to bend the rules and break the rules and ignore the rules. Or there are no pre-established rules and you just assume people know like social etiquette. But then you have to put more rules as more people like bend those. So I could see that big time. And just to continue the question, I haven't necessarily done anything mod related where I didn't agree with the mod. Like again, it's their stream, so I'll just follow what they say to a degree, obviously. But I have been in some conversations about other moderators making decisions that the streamer didn't agree with, and they were like upset about it. And from my perspective, it wasn't a big deal. But you know, that is something that the mod has to like, or the streamer and the mod have to discuss or figure out themselves. But it's certainly something that I'm like, that I've seen, but I haven't partaken in myself. Because I'm like, streamer rules, whatever they want to do, I'll do it.
What about you guys, Barry and Pete?
So to send somebody down a Wikipedia rabbit hole, there's a thing called the paradox of intolerance.
Okay.
And it's exactly like that, right? You have to be intolerant to the intolerant in order to have tolerance. So anyway, you know, you have to have some variety of rules on it. I mean, realistically, like the way you summed it up early, Kay, is right. The streamer sets the rules and the vibe and things like that. So there's times that like maybe a streamer sets stricter rules than I would set if I was having an open conversation, or Tim might set, or Pete might set, or whatever. But like, that's okay. I would not agree to be a mod for somebody that had restrictions outside of my comfort zone. So like maybe somebody's actually okay with slurs, right? Or language that I don't like, or, you know, other things that are uncomfortable for me. I could not do the mod job. So I would not accept it. I would resign from it if somebody made me a mod, right? Because I couldn't in good conscience go in there and say, hey, yeah, I can, you know, hold your rules, and, you know, while people, you know, use slurs about disabled people or something like that, right? You allow this, but I can't, right? So sorry, I'm not going to be a mod for you.
What about you, Pete? Do you have anything to add to that?
I was informed that I'm not allowed to answer this question.
You moderate for so many other channels. I'm sure you have but if you feel like we answered it well enough, then that's
definitely. There's been times where, you know, I've had to mod something that maybe I wouldn't have got rid of, or you know, there's definitely been a handful of times that I can think of where I've had to. Well, I've taken the action to mod someone, and then the streamer's been like, "Hey, why did you do that?" And we've had to have a discussion about why I did that. You know, I would never mention Kay. I've never had a disagreement with her about any of this in the past, and we won't in the future either. That's for sure.
Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely, you know, as a streamer myself, you know, I've definitely had a scenario where I've had to go to one of my mods, my previous mods, not Kay, one of my previous mods, where they have said something to a chatter, someone who'd been a chatter for a long time as well. That was, they were just trying to make a joke, I think, in the end, that didn't land very well, and accused this person of being something that they're not.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to talk to them about that, and they didn't like that. They were like, "Well, I'm just being the mod," and I think they had some kind of importance in themselves about that position as well. I haven't. The person's not my mod anymore for a variety of reasons, but definitely there's been situations like that come up. I know Kay doesn't want me to mention anything, but we definitely have disagreements sometimes, and that's part. I've been a mod for so long.
Absolutely, yeah,
makes sense. And part
and
of
it's
it is
healthy.
Part of that is knowing, being able to come to someone and say, "Hey, here's what's happened," and having that discussion, even if there's, it can be a bit heated at times as well.
Yeah, you don't want a mod that just sits there and says yes to everything you do. You do want some to be like, well, is that a good idea? Or like, oh, you're being a little extreme on this. Like, it's good to have people who are
absolutely. So there's times where I would consult with people and say, hey, this situation happened. How do you think that I handled it? Do you think like this, I'm overreacting? And or things like that. And I need people to turn around and say yes or no, or, what, actually you're valid in your feelings, or, it is important that, but it, as I say, like, again, I think it just comes down to their stream, their rules kind of thing as well. But ultimately, I guess that's the answer to that. I wanted to sort of end on like a positive one, where like, have you ever had a difficult viewer who turned things around and became a positive part of the community, and how did that happen?
I don't know who I'm pointing to.
So can you stop pointing to me?
I saw where Pete was pointing. Pete knew what he was doing.
They're just pointing to me. I am a very difficult chatter. Like, especially if you're my friend, like, Kit Kat. If you see me in Kit Kat's stream, in Collection stream, Pete's stream, anyone's stream, I'm so annoying.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
But I love it because, like, I know that if I was too much, they would literally like tell me off. But I don't know. Do you feel comfortable telling me off? But I also feel like I don't know, like I feel like I would only do that to people that I'm comfortable with. Like, I know that we're friends, so we have that banter, so I can be annoying, I guess. Anyway, that's off topic, sorry. But yeah, just going back to difficult viewer that turned things around and is a positive part of your community, and how
Definitely. There's probably a handful right here in stream right now.
Yeah.
Everyone that thinks they have been a problematic viewer in the past, please say so in chat. But I think there's obviously a bit of a two ways as well. Sometimes there's maybe a chatter that I've been like, oh, maybe this isn't someone I necessarily gel with, and then I got to know them a little bit more, and oh, actually they're all right. Sometimes like we were talking a little bit earlier about people that can come in and, maybe give you a bit of a weird vibe. But yeah, there's definitely been a handful of those people here and in other places. It just kind of happens that way. Sometimes people you don't gel with instantly, and that's fine. And you also don't have to gel with everyone. If you are in a position and like, if you're a mod, maybe there's some people you don't really like in the community. Not that there's anyone like that here, of course.
Pete hates everyone.
Have you met people? It's understandable.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, you can definitely have to sometimes set yourself aside from someone maybe you don't like, or have like clash with just like personally, in order to be a better mod. There's definitely people out there, for other people I mod that are like that.
Also, I'm really sorry. I was trying, like, as you were talking, a burp was coming through, and I just really tried to restrain that burp. I don't know if you guys heard it. It was just like,
I don't think so. I mean,
okay,
I wasn't
good.
going to acknowledge it
until you immediately started talking about it, and now it's going to be the focus of our conversation.
I can't wait to go back and
whoever
watch
is editing this podcast, make sure you isolate that and put it into a clip for the promo.
Oh god. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I was trying so hard, to not burp, but I was like, please don't.
You have a mute button, okay?
It's
true.
But why? Oh, yeah, that's true. I do have a mute button, but the burps they come and you just gotta burp it out. Why?
Sometimes you just gotta go. I get
it's better out than in. I always say.
There you go. Distraction. You're welcome. Well, to reel us back into the conversation,
yes.
And it's not going to be helpful because I can't think of anybody for my streamer.
Yes.
That have been particularly because again I'm very relaxed and very chill. So
a bit too relaxed.
If they're difficult enough in Tim's stream that we end up like actually getting them in trouble, then they're gone, right? Like there's no hope for it. No.
Yeah, because my tolerance is really high. Like I will sit for a while, and not to say like people can come in and just beat me up. I mean, I'll give it right back to them.
Yeah.
But it's just like they're either nobody has gotten me to the point where I'm like, okay, we need to have a serious conversation, and then they fix themselves after. It usually always ends up in them having to leave life.
Again, Tim is very harshly banned somebody.
Barry, do you have an example of when sorry not to
I think like the one that kind of like works with this is there have been a handful of times in various streams where people have like come in and they've kind of not given a great vibe, kind of like Pete said.
Yeah.
Where like they didn't do anything explicitly rule breaking, but you were just like, whoa, what's going on here? Right. Like kind of the hackle stood up like I needed to do something as a mod, but I kind of let it play and see what happens. And then maybe the streamer said something, maybe they realized the vibe of the community was different than they expected it to be. And it kind of like reins in a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. But it takes that person recognizing the community they're going into in order to turn it around and realize what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, right, and then they run their own way, like Tim said, they end up digging their own hole and just eventually getting, kicked out. Or they choose to leave because the community's like, why are you here? Right.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We're a happy community and I come in and I just want to be angry all the time or, whatever. Right. Like it just doesn't gel well. So it happens sometimes, but usually it's kind of just like an initial misread of the community kind of thing, more than like a really kind of repeat difficult viewer. They tend to kind of go their own way and find somewhere else angrier on the internet to hang out.
Right. A better spot.
There's a place for everyone on the internet, that's for sure. So we're just going to quickly read some questions in chat just before we...
And this isn't the start of the next podcast, right?
No.
Like
this
your
is
notes
just
from before.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. We'll quickly just answer. There's a couple of questions in here. Where did I get them? Where are they? Can anyone find it?
Yes, there was a couple that
Dave had a question earlier that was asking if any of us had a clash with another mod.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
Resolved if that did happen.
Okay.
I've had a couple.
I have one. This is actually quite recent for me. Should I even say that it's recent for me? Oh my God, it's out there now. Okay. So basically...
You don't have to continue, Kay. You're allowed to.
Yeah, no. This is streamer therapy. We get real truth. Addresses.
Contact details.
Yeah.
Mother's maiden name and social security number.
I have some that, like, it's actually, like, I've seen this happen a lot where I feel like I go into this is actually a whole, like, this is continuously. This is just previously all the way to now. I keep seeing people that are mods for people and I get frustrated because I'm like, you're not doing your job as a moderator in my mind, because I'm like, number one, you're not supporting the streamer. They're clearly wanting a bit more support from you. You're not supporting them. And the other thing as well is you're not doing the things that they want you to do on cue. Like, it's your job. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. This isn't the specific example of recently. I'm just saying this is an example. This is like for legal reasons. But no, so
the names have been changed from Pete and Tim to Teet and Pim. All right?
No, what am I Teet?
So it's where, for example, like
you're welcome.
But like, for example, like the basic of basic moderating things. Somebody raided into your channel. The least you can do is, number one, hype up your streamer. Right? You raided into this channel. Tell us about this channel. Hype them up. Hype up your streamer. Your streamer's having a hard time. hype up your streamer. Number one. Number two, give your goddamn shout outs, accept and acknowledge the raiders that have come through, and be grateful that, hang on, this person has raided your streamer. You better show them some love, shout them out, be like, just be the extension of that streamer, where you're supporting that streamer by showing what a community you are. And just those basic things, like, and it just frustrated me because I'm like, this right here is an amazing streamer, but their moderators aren't moderating. Like, it just, I feel like it just, for me, like, I didn't obviously say anything, but in my mind, I'm just like, should I say something to them? I don't know. But chat, should I say something to them? I don't know. But I don't know why, because I think I'm so passionate about seeing my friends succeed that it breaks me a little bit when somebody isn't being the backbone. Because one of the things that we say is that Twitch moderators are the backbone of our community. And if you're not being that backbone, should you be a moderator for that person? Like, and I don't know.
Into a gig, right? Like, you're choosing to do this.
Yes.
If you're choosing to take the responsibility, take the responsibility, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I just went on a tangent because this has just really irked me for a long time.
No, it's fine. It's funny because, like, part of me is thinking, like, oh, what if they weren't looking at the screen at the time, or what if they were busy with something? Because, like, it's hard to know what the mods are doing.
No.
But you said they were messaging.
Yeah. No, they were in the chat. They're in the chat. These people, chatting. They're still chatting. They're in the chat, but they're not doing their mod duties. I'm like, just do the bare minimum. Just be like, welcome raiders, or give their shout
just
out.
Say hello.
Just if you're in the chat, like. And I've seen,
at the very least. I've had mods that kind of forget their mods too, and they're like, "Oh, I forgot to do the shout out," or things like that.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I agree with you. Like, if you're a mod, I mean, it's just kind of the expectations. It's like
just the bare minimum,
or just be chatty. You don't, even if you forget the shout out, that happens a lot.
Yes,
just be chatty, just be welcoming. Like, make their chat that all these raiders come into fun. And even as a non-mod, just as a normal person, like, it's so easy to be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?"
Exactly.
So I get where your frustrations come from, because it is such an easy thing to do, but some people just don't see it.
Yeah. And I do sometimes feel like there are certain moderators who are doing a lot more, and then this other moderator, I see this a lot, where they're not even active at all, but then they'll come in just every now and again, and then it's just I just feel like the other ones are working so hard and you're not pulling your weight, but then you want recognition. Like, they just want recognition from that streamer. They want to be acknowledged. They want all the love and attention from the community, but they're not willing to put any effort into the community. So I'm like, I think some people just want a sword next to their name, and I'm gonna say it, and this is the truth, and I'm gonna call people out on it, and it's true. So, I don't know. You probably don't agree with me, but feel free to disagree with me, guys. It's fine.
The times that I've clashed with other moderators, there's been a handful of times that, like, my personality and their personality doesn't mesh. Like, that happens, right? We're all different, unique people. And I try to just let that one go, right? Like, I know I'm not going to get along with everybody. As long as we can all kind of play by the same rules that the streamer has set, then that's fine, right? I'm not trying to be best friends with everybody that's here. Not you all. You all are great, but
it's okay, Barry. But we don't have to be friends.
Then there's other times where, and this one is a pet peeve of mine, is like kind of like Kay says, getting the recognition stuff. But sometimes when the mods show up, and they and it's a weird fine line to walk, but like, they almost feel like it makes it more about them than the streamer, right? You're supposed to be the hype person for the streamer. Yeah, you can be their troll. Yeah, you can make fun of them. Yeah, you can be involved in the stream. But, like, it still is their stream. It's not yours, right?
Yeah.
You're not the one doing the streaming or the gaming and the talking or whatever the streamer is doing. So, like, there's a handful of channels that I've been on over the years where I've been a mod, where sometimes there's a mod that would show up and, like, it makes it all about them when they show up, right?
Yeah.
And that one is a very large pet peeve of mine, and I just don't get along with those people. But as long as they can hold the baseline of the community standards, I don't like it doesn't impact me outside of that, but it makes me want to do less work while they're there.
What about you, Pete? I feel like you had something to add there.
I'm constantly fighting with Villa. Oh my god. Yeah. We just like pointing at each other. No, you're handsome. No, you're handsome. It's honestly, it just takes it out of me sometimes. I just get so exhausted fighting with that guy. Sometimes when as a mod, I've clashed with another mod, but not in any kind of serious way. There's definitely been a time or two where I've been having a bad day or they've been having a bad day, and you just kind of things you say have a bit of a harder edge to them unintentionally, and you just kind of get annoyed with each other, but not in any kind of serious kind of way.
You didn't send Villa that "you're beautiful" message one day, and he really took it out on you.
Well, see, I said him "you're beaut," which is only half a word.
So it showed you didn't put in enough effort.
Yeah.
I get
I
it.
understand.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So does anyone have anything else to add to that before we move on to is there any other questions in chat? I think there was another one from. Yeah. Do you know what it is? Do you want to read it?
Another one that Gojo had another one that I had screenshot to come back to of, do you discuss boundaries as a streamer with your mod prior to bringing them on board?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, except
the good ones do. That's the answer that I'll tell you, is the good ones do.
Yeah. Because not everybody thinks about it, and then once like a problem does happen, and they're like, "Oh, we actually don't know how to respond to this," then you set boundaries after. But yeah, when you initially, and some people have like mod applications, they have like a whole paperwork you have to fill out, and that will establish like, "Hey, this is what I want you to do. These are your responsibilities." I don't ever see myself doing that. Maybe if I become like a really big streamer in the future, because you kind of have to vet everybody, because a mod is like the next level up, so they get access to things that a lot of just average viewers don't get. So it's like hitting that level of allowing them to see behind the curtain and join the mod chats and have power in your stream is kind of a big deal. So I mean, setting those boundaries is super important, but again, you don't think about it early on. When you're a bigger streamer, I think it becomes way more important to do that right off the bat.
Tim, when you started, because you made me a mod relatively early, didn't I call you and we had a conversation about, Tim, what boundaries do you want to set?
I legit. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, because I came from a bigger streamer initially, right? Somebody who was significantly larger at the time. And so I was like, hey, this is what I'm used to. And like, I had a conversation about boundaries and all this other stuff. Right. And then I was like, Tim, what are your boundaries? And you're like, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I know I have some basic like life rules of like, don't be a terrible human being. Great. We can agree on that. And I was like, all right, anything else?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what do you want? So like, I prompted that conversation in that particular case, but like, I mean, once
that's because he's just too laid back. Okay. He's just this guy.
And that's something I've learned by year 2 or 3 of streaming. I'm like, man, I've learned my boundaries. I've learned what I like, what I don't like, and over the years I've changed what I felt comfortable with as a streamer. So it's like, and you learn. Sometimes you don't know right off the bat to make boundaries. I was when I first started, I was just modding whoever I felt really comfortable with, and I mostly because like I didn't know necessarily like the power of mods other than just protecting me. So it was like Barry, Ashley, like just my good friends at the time. And it's pretty similar now. I think most people who are my mods are just people I really trust and good friends. I don't think I have anybody who's a mod that I'm not friendly with outside of that. Like, I don't know if people have mods that they aren't necessarily friends with or spend a lot of time with.
I do know there are some people who stream, but it's because they have a larger audience, so they don't actually know the moderators very well, but they just know that they do a good job for moderating for them. But that's all they needed to know, because that's what they wanted, and it's a mutual thing. If they're both happy with that, that's fine. With me, and I guess Pete being one of my oldest mods. But the thing is, actually, no, Villa has been my moderator from the beginning, because if you don't know, Villa was the reason why I started streaming. And anyway, but he's a terrible mod. If you don't know, he's terrible. But even like he's
the
terrible.
Gossip comes out.
No, like we love him. No. Look, we love him, but he can be such a troll sometimes that even Pete has to go, Villa. I can't believe Villa just said that. But we love it. He knows he won't get upset. But like, we love Villa. Listen, And he does step up when he needs to, and he does do all the things. But what I'm saying is sometimes he's so much of a troll to me that I'm like, I have to message him being like, can you not?
Can you just support me, please?
Yes. But but it's okay. He's sort of a lad.
I'm not going to sit here and let you slander Villa like that. Villa is an incredible mod and human and is very handsome and beautiful. If you've ever seen him in a suit, it's incredible.
Yeah, he does look
Oh my
good in a
God.
suit. But he's my
I don't
partner,
even
so I'm
know what
allowed
he
to
looks
sort
like.
of be like that, so it's okay.
You're missing out, collection. You're missing
I've
out.
never seen him. I've never seen old
The
vanilla.
world is always brighter once you've seen Villa.
I can't wait for the day.
But no, I think Pete, I feel like we sort of learned and grew together in that aspect because we would talk about certain things that would happen and then we would just say like that's probably not okay. Like, I don't know. And like, I think it was hard, but I did go through main things, which was like, just continue doing what you're doing, which is like, number one, supporting me the way you are. And then just like at the time, it was just ban those people that are coming in. And there was a period where we had those hate attacks as well. So I was so scared because people told me to stop using the South Asian tag and stuff and don't put any of your race stuff in there. And I was like, I don't care. Let them come. And I did actually get an attack bot. I had the ultimate Seri bot at the time. So that was great.
Nice.
Seribot's
They came in
great.
clutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I had
The only downside of Seribot is that it means I don't get to ban the like.
It's
Would you
too
want to pay
quick.
for
Yeah.
viewers? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't ban the do you want to pay for viewers people anymore because they're already banned by the time I
They're
see
too
it.
good.
So I definitely agree with what you're saying. You know, when I started being your mod, you know, I definitely was like, hey, what's the expectation? Those expectations, you know, change over time. You know, we learn each other's boundaries. We learn to be better communicators. You know, it's been a long time.
Oh, God.
Please.
You know, lots happened in everyone's lives since then.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I said, you know, boundaries will change. You know, we adapt. You know, we do what we can to
Yeah.
try and stay in the kind of happy place of being able to be mod, and then separating that from being friends as well, I think is also important.
This is a conversation we can come back to as well, which is like, how do you separate being a modern friend, which we haven't got on here. So
When we get into the ugly part.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Kefi said,
question.
sorry, I'm just reading. No, I'm just reading what Kefi wrote, which is, I've been a mod for someone that didn't even tell me that what they needed from me as a mod, and I was just kind of thrown in and told to learn the ropes, and it made it very difficult. I didn't stay in a mod for long because I just didn't know what I needed to do. Part of that might be on me, but you know what? This is why we're making this podcast.
I'm 100% of a strong opinion. That is 0% on you, right?
Yeah.
That's like you getting hired to do a job and them not telling you how to do the job.
Exactly.
How is that
Right. You'll
the
just
fault of the
learn
person
it.
Exactly.
That got hired, right?
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were getting into on
Exactly.
purpose.
Yeah.
So no,
It's not your fault, Kefi, but
the other thing is, of course, they don't know you. You know,
exactly.
if they've put you in that position, you know, they don't know a thing about you at all.
She's been in a job like that too. Yes, you know what? I have as well.
Doesn't
It's
mean
happened.
it was a good job either. It might have
Yeah.
been a great job for other reasons, but
Yeah.
for that reason alone, I wouldn't label it as a quote good.
Barry?
The very important question that we can end this segment on
Yeah.
is Pixie asked if at mod meetups do we arm wrestle to blow off steam?
Yes.
Yes, every time.
Of course.
It's
Of
the
course.
requirement when we show up. If we're angry at all, we have to arm wrestle. That's the rule.
And then we decide the ultimate mod by like whoever stays out.
Go through the
ends up
tournament.
top. Yeah.
The arm wrestling tournament. Yep. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
On that note, I think we can end this segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God, there is number of questions. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it quickly. Rapid fire. This is from Wolfie the Scribe. They were just like, wait, mods of Twitch, you say? Okay, so just to clarify, it's a mod perspective, and these people. Okay, I can include myself. I'm not great, but yeah, we are getting perspective from different veteran mods, and yes, it will make for interesting conversations. Okay, so just quickly, the first one is Wolfie the Scribe is actually a veteran mod himself and would love to ask these questions. All right, rapid fire. This one will go to a collection first. So what constitutes a veteran mod? Is it a technical skill, time in the business, or pure numbers of swords?
I think definitely skill and knowledge. I don't think the amount of swords means anything. You can mod 100 million people but still be bad at it. I think it's very much very much like knowing how the system works and understanding your streamer. I think just being the type of person who will understand who you're modding for and what you're doing makes you a much better mod than many others.
Yeah. And this one is for Pete. Look, honestly, anyone else can just answer it. I'm just chucking it at you guys because I'm trying to be like, quick. Does your mod brain ever switch off? Have you ever caught yourself modding your friends in real life? Like as you're chatting to them on Discord? I don't know.
Definitely switch off. So easy to switch off. Oh my God. Worst person to ask this question. Definitely.
We know.
So easy to stop getting into that mod mindset.
I think Barry, it wouldn't shut off for him.
It can shut off, but I have never out loud said !SO or anything like that, so I can at least turn it off a little bit.
I refer to a group of people as chat sometimes. That's not good.
Slash
look at
shout
chat
out
over there.
Yeah.
Let me get a slash shout out to Tim.
Hey, that's me.
Oh, good. So this one really quick. Anyone can jump into this, but Barry, human mods versus AI discussed. So the AI mods versus human mods. I think you actually talked about this. I think you said it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some use for having some, some bots that can do some of the work for you, right? Recognize harmful links and other things like that. But it's really hard to program a vibe. So, there's definitely some things that you won't be able to do outside of it.
There's because it won't detect sarcasm, won't detect what's going on in the conversation. I mean, maybe it could, but I don't know. It's
difficult to get the context.
Specific uses, great. Specific uses are phenomenal to have bots for things, but then it's not the same as having a person who can kind of read the room.
Okay, that was great. So just wanted to quickly say thank you so much, chat, for being here. We are watching your comments. We're reading them. We're actually smiling and smirking and replying, and we will throw in a comment anytime. But appreciate you being here. We're just going to go into the next part. So thank you for watching part 2 of our Streamer Therapy podcast, Behind the Hammer. Please follow our channels for the third and final episode wherever you get the podcast, your podcast, where we reflect more on moderating for streamers. We've done the good, we've done the bad, and next we're going to look at the ugly, and some amazing advice and more. Yeah, so don't forget to check the links for our guests to get to know us a bit more, and I will see you soon. Bye.